Hi Founder fans, Jason here, and today we're going to discuss one of the earliest overturned elections in United States federal government history. And to do this, we're going to look at the life of John Patten. Now, John Patten was a Delaware farmer who signed up for the militia when the Revolutionary War broke out. And he would fight in the Revolutionary War for the next several years, including most of the battles in the North, Long Island, Saratoga, and he would eventually go and fight in the disastrous Battle of Camden. He was sent south to fight under Horatio Gates in Camden. It was an embarrassing loss. John Patten was lucky to come out alive, though he was unlucky that he was taken a prisoner, and he spent several months as prisoner before he was released on parole. Now, after the war, he would end up going and being elected to the Delaware Assembly, and would slowly make his way up in Delaware politics, even for a time attending the Continental Congress for one session. Now, after George Washington became president, John Patten decided to run for the United States House of Representatives. And he did this. And he won. Or did he? It turns out he was running against his local rival, Henry Latimer. And Latimer claimed that there was a problem with the balloting system and that he won and John Patten did not. It was kind of a hanging chad of back in the 1790s. So the argument was that at the time, Delaware had a strange law that when you voted on your ballot, which I'll remind you back then they would write down their votes and put it in the ballot box. When you wrote down the ballot, you needed to write down 2 names for each position. Now, I was unable to determine if you were supposed to write 2 different names or write the same name twice. I would assume it was 2 different names, but I question that because perhaps they wanted it written twice so they could make sure they could read your handwriting. Either way, there were 77 ballots in one county of Delaware that only had 1 name listed on there. Now, when they counted the polling boxes, the people who did the counting in Delaware counted these votes and included them because they wanted everyone's vote to count. And while that sounds really, really nice, Henry Latimer said, no, the law says you need to write 2 names so these votes don't count. It ended up going to the House of Representatives that decided who was going to sit with them in that body. The House of Representatives had a Federalist majority, so it is seemingly no surprise that they kicked out today's founder, John Patten, in exchange for Henry Latimer. Now, Patten was a Democratic Republican, and you could see how the majority would not want him there. He was removed, and honestly, according to the law in Delaware, kind of rightfully so. But he ran again for the next session of House of Representatives against Latimer, and he won overwhelmingly, because it seems that he did have the majority of people who voted for him that first time, and they got all their friends to come on and vote this time, and they did vote, and they were able to, we'll say, put in, I don't want to say the right person, but their guy. So John Patten does finally sit during the John Adams administration. He sits for 2 sessions of the United States House of Representatives. So this is a quick tale today. I could have honestly made it about Henry Latimer, but because John Patten is the one who ends up kind of getting the victorious comeback, I thought that was a more fun angle to take for this particular very interesting conflict in the early United States of Delaware. That's not the right way to say that, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit like. If you really liked it, please hit subscribe. I put out videos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days a week. And if you want to support this site, check out my Patreon page below. I will put a link to an article also that I wrote about John Patten a while back down below if you wanted to learn more. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to bringing you another video tomorrow.